Yo! What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Today, I am trying to basically rewrite Steam's controller configuration software. I don't want to do this, let me be so freaking clear. But, fuck software. You know what I'm saying? I freaking hate software sometimes, man. I bought a new controller. Because I like to have two. The sticks on my last one were like starting to like maybe die. I couldn't tell if it was like software or hardware. So new controller time. Bought a GameSir G7 Pro. This thing's pretty cool. It's got TMR sticks. I don't know what TMR is, but it sounds kind of neat. Like supposedly the stick drift is like crazy on these things. It feels pretty good when I use it. And then I'm like in the controller's configuration software for this thing, and I noticed like a couple things. One, I can like map, it's got 4 paddles, right? 2 on the back and then 2 on the top here. And I can like map these paddles to like keyboard outputs. So that's kind of cool, right? I can say like, press a button on the keyboard when I press this thing. I can also map it to mouse. And then I also find that there is gyroscopes in this thing. Like it's got like a 6-axis gyro. However, you cannot view these paddles as paddles, or the gyro as a gyro. No, that would be too easy. The only thing you can do is export 2 of the axes of the gyro as either a mouse or part of a joystick, right? Or I guess also the D-pad, which is funny. Using your gyro for D-pad is insane behavior. And you can only export the extra buttons as keyboard, mouse, or duplicate buttons on the controller. So, I want to play games, and I want the paddles to be their own buttons, but I want them to be buttons on the controller, right? Because, like, how do I say this? Like, most games don't really support mixed input. So that's problem 1, is that I want the paddles to be visible. Problem 2 is that I want to be able to use the gyro, right? Now, the gyro can be exported as a mouse, but, like, if you export the thing as a mouse, then, like, just picking up your controller, like, moves the mouse around, and that's, like, fucking annoying. You could, like, turn off your controller when you're not using it or something, but, like, I want the controller to, like, I want it to act like a one device instead of 3 devices that are kind of janky, right? So there's this thing you can do, and we've looked at this before, like about a year and a half ago. Oh, look, I put my mouse in the bottom corner of this shitty fucking operating system, and it just punched up like a million ads. Do you guys think that like the thing that you want on your computer all of the time is the TSX index funds performance today? Do you think that's like a reasonable thing to put on your fucking desktop at all times? What a fucking garbage ass operating system. Like, oh my god. Yeah, other problem is that I have to launch a VM to configure this thing. That's annoying. I would like to be able to like configure this thing from Linux, etc. Yeah, so we looked a little bit at the idea of like faking a controller before. Around a year ago, maybe in May 2025, we were looking at creating a controller that had a gyro and buttons and paddles, right? And what we found is that it's not trivial. The way that these things are exposed, I kind of like skimmed these videos yesterday, so I might be a little bit off. But my recollection is that there are these like dev in event handles, right? We're skimming details. But these guys basically say like, read this file and get input events. You can also like query for like attributes, right? So if you want like a controller, you're gonna say like, I am a gamepad, and I am going to export like, you know, button north, south, east, west for the buttons on the right. I'm gonna have like a couple axes for my 2 sticks and maybe my triggers, right? And software will like know how to query these things. I think what happens is that like you have UDEV rules on your box that like notice known controller device IDs and makes those world readable. Most input devices are not world readable, but controllers, they go like, oh, this is a controller, so this is world readable. And then like games will just kind of open that handle. Like SDL, as an example, will open those handles. If you want gyro, gyro. This is a separate dev event handle. What we found in our last stream was that like you could export your gyro as extra axes on the same event device, like the same input device. But SDL would like not know how to do that. Gyros, plural. Yes, you're right. So what they do is, like the Nintendo Joy-Cons, for example, they will create one dev event handle for buttons and joysticks, and then another event handle for gyro. And this thing will be like tagged as accelerometer. And what they'll do is they'll like put the Bluetooth MAC address. Bluetooth MAC address goes in like the input device structure as like input dev unique. It's like a special name. And what happens is SDL, when you open a controller, will walk all of the event handles, look for joysticks, look at the unique field for the joysticks, then find any gyros that have the same unique field and go, this must be a gyroscope for the same guy. Okay. Remember all of that. We'll put that aside for a second. There is this idea of dev u input. So I might want to mock a virtual input device. And so what I can do is I can open this file and I can like input and output a bunch of things with that and say like, hey, make a dev event handle and I will populate it from my side, right? So if we can like mock a gyro device, great. You can mock a like a gamepad, I guess is what they call them, right? We can do those things. However, what we found at the end of this last stream, which is why my head in the thumbnail looks like this, is unique field not settable, right? So there's no way with the like dev uinput API to basically trick SDL into correlating these two devices and having one gamepad that has what do you say? Gyros, right? It's like not possible. So what I was doing yesterday was I was experimenting a little bit with this. I wrote a kernel driver u input 2 or something. And what I did was I just basically had like one call that like basically populated unique fields on existing devices. All right, great. So then I can like create this unique field that will allow these two things to get stitched together. Bing, bang, boom. I open up an SDL program. I like try to open a gamepad. SDL goes, fuck yeah. These two devices, like I have a gamepad with a gyro. And I'm like, hell yeah, that's fucking sick. Okay? Now, how am I going to use the gyro in most games? You basically have to use Steam input, almost. And what Steam input will do is you like set up, hey, like when I use the gyro, like give mouse inputs. Hand wavy. Some games, if they use like Steam inputs API directly, will allow you to like use the gyro like that. But like most games that are using like the vast majority of games won't support gyro natively, and even the ones that do are like hard coded to look for a PS5 controller or something like that, right? So if I want my controller to like work correctly, I either have to perfectly mock the like PS5 controller, which by the way, we don't use these like nice Linux event handles for that. Like you need to like put in the kernel like a fake device that byte for byte reproduces what a PS5 controller reproduces. I don't want to do that. It's like fuck don't work. Too much work, right? So instead, we try to make Steam recognize this thing, and then in Steam you can like basically mock the thing as a mouse. Now, all of this stuff that we just talked about, to make SDL recognize our controller as a gyro and a gamepad, just Steam input goes like, nah, fuck it, no. And as far as I can tell, Steam basically has like a hard-coded list of controllers that it knows has gyros, and then instead of like using this like nice dev event API that will give you like a number of how much the gyro has moved in the last period of time, he goes, what if we just looked at the raw bytes in the USB stream? You know, what if we just looked at that? And so he goes like this controller I need to parse it this way, and this controller I need to parse it that way. And so again, to get Steam input to work correctly, you kind of have to mock an existing controller. There's the additional problem here where no like production controller that anyone uses, like I guess none of the like popular controllers that Steam knows about have 4 paddles and a gyro. It just doesn't exist, right? So this whole thing is like just a giant fuck you from the software industry, right? I have a controller, it has all of these features, and I just can't fucking use them. I literally just can't use them. It's so frustrating, right? And so the goal for today is to try to basically replicate what Steam Input does, right? Have some sort of like gyro configuration software that lets me like tune how I'm going to use it as a mouse in this game specifically, right? Like I don't want the gyro on all the time. I want the controller to be emitting gyro events all the time, but I want like to only use them when it is like relevant to my situation, right? And so that's the goal, is we are going to basically take the 3 devices exported by my controller, the controller's mouse, keyboard, and gamepad, try to like correlate those things, merge them into, not merge, like collect them into some software where we can then configure their outputs based off what game is open, right? So I launch a game that has mixed input support, the right stick will perform as partly a mouse, and the gyro will also work partly as a mouse. Then I open a game that doesn't have mixed input support, or I don't want the gyro on, it automatically turns the gyro off when those games are active. Maybe I have games that like I want to use gyro, but if they don't support mixed input, I need all of the inputs on the controller to act as keyboard outputs instead, right? So we basically need to like, the steps are like, configure controller to emit gyro as mouse, configure controller to emit keyboard paddles as keyboard. Then on our side, reconfigure keyboard inputs as paddle outputs, reconfigure mouse as mouse, but only sometimes. And then like also like merge mouse output stream with joystick, maybe implement flick stick, right? There's all sorts of like things that we can do once it happens. Maybe like implement binding, like bind paddles to programs. Like maybe I want to do something like when I press the screenshot button, I want it to like save the last n seconds in OBS, right? Instead of doing like a screenshot like it does right now. Like this opens up a lot of options. You know what I mean? Wait, if you play with keyboard, you can just play on Steam though. My wrists hurt when I play. I can't play mouse and keyboard anymore. It's like unfortunate. Keyboard's just superior in most games, but like my wrists hurt when I use it. It's like unfortunate. I fucked them up. So we're stuck. Anyways, this is the play. I just want to be so clear. I just bought a fucking piece. I just bought a controller and I just fucking want to use it. Right? I'm just trying to fucking use the controller, and I think like legitimately this is the best option, which is insane. Right? I actually think that this is, I'm actually like mad. But this is the plan for today. So let's get moving. So in those videos I referenced, we have some sample code of like creating a virtual gamepad. So I think we probably will be pulling from this later. But I think where I want to start is like opening our gamepad. You know what I mean? So we'll call this like gamepad input. There we go. That's a name. All right, and let's I don't know, ZXLS probably. Does your wrist only hurt when you use one hand? It's if I use WASD. When I play games with WSD, like my wrists just get fucked up. Okay. Get in it maybe? And let's go make their source main. Okay. So the first thing to do is try to find our thing, which should be in here somewhere. I think there's dev input by ID. And in here, if I plug this thing into the correct USB port, because I have to have one USB port pass through to my virtual machine for controller configuration, but if I plug it in to the right USB port, we should see... Perfect. This one controller is exporting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 devices. Okay, so JS0, if I remember correctly, is a duplication of the event API joystick. So we only need one of these. So fuck this one. I do not know what IFO1 means. This is interesting. So, oh, I see. So one of these, there's also like a mouse API, which we also don't need to use because, do we? Yeah, because I think that we prefer to use this. I think we want this one, and this one. That would be my guess. Yes, this is raw, this is mouse, joystick, but you have mouse as event, and that's kind of nicer. Anyways, okay, cool. So I guess we start with this. Okay, let's open this guy and just kind of see what it looks like. I guess we probably want stud, to be honest. So let's do a git submodule add stud is from, I guess it's from git stud is stud. Perfect. And then I guess this means we need a build zig, pub function build. We need it stood here. And I kind of figured out the other day that you can actually just kind of, I don't really need to like create like a full package or anything. I can just kind of be like, give me stud source stud.zig. Well, let me just compile that shit myself. And then we have our exe is create add executable. His name is gamepad. What do we call our project? Gamepad input. Root module is a new module. Root source files bpath source main. All right. Target is whatever we're running on because I'm lazy, and optimize is debug because I'm lazy. You're supposed to you know, get these from options, but you can't make me. You know what I mean? You can't make me. And then add import. Nope. Root module. Exe root module add import. There we go. All right. Please God. Go, cool. Okay. So now we should be able to be like open this dev event or input by ID. Open this guy, please. And I don't know if I need any attributes here, and I'm not creating him, so permissions don't matter. And we have this guy. Then what do we do with this? This is like a joystick. What do we do with this guy? I don't know. Dev events. I want like dev kernel header maybe? Like, where does this live? There's libevdev, we are skipping that. We're doing it ourselves. So we're looking for Linux input.h. What is it? C include, here we go. Linux input.h. And then we'll kind of like take a look in there in a minute. So do I need Linux kernel headers to do this, or do they just kind of exist? Can I jump to def here? What happens if I jump to def here? Notification found. If I do like this equals Linux, like does this build? Or do I need to download something from somewhere? C import failed, header's not available. Oh, we do need to link against libc. That's a good point. That is a good point. Like this. If we want C imports, we gotta link libc. Looks like that succeeded, which means that I should be able to jump to definition on that in a second if I can fucking exit this and relaunch it. Thank you. No? Fuck me. Linux dot. Okay. We do have this thing, so I'm just gonna have to find the input header myself. Env grep Linux, maybe? No? Well, fuck me, I guess. I don't know where these are coming from. Nix shell dash p. Is it like Linux headers? Is that like a thing I can pull right now? Let's see. Are we lucky? Did we guess right? Env grep Linux. Like, where does it putting those? Cool. What about like kernel? Where are these stored? Okay, input.h Linux. Fuck it. I'm just gonna look it up online because I'm too fucking stupid to find it. This is easier. Okay, so we are going to probably call some ioctl on this thing to get information about it. Surely. Set the event mask. Retrieve current event mask. So we retrieve the current event mask for specific event types, blah, blah, blah. And then is there like a structure that I'm supposed to read to get a, like something that happened? Octals 0 to 7 will return input IDs or something. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Okay, here we go. Get name. Get the name of the thing. Get the physical location, unique identifier properties. Driver version, device ID, repeat settings, blah, blah, get key code. Set key code, okay. And then what about like, so these are like for like key mapping. What about like just getting events? Was there input, Linux kernel input docs? I think they usually exist. Here we go. Like usually they have like a user space API section. Here. Simple usage. Blah blah blah. HID generic event interface. Here we go. You can use blocking and non-blocking reads and also select on the dev input event devices, and you'll always get a whole number of input events read. And these are just input event. Oh, perfect. Perfect. So we should just be able to be like Linux input event. So we have one of these. Var events buff is going to be like, maybe we're allowing ourselves to get like 16 of them at once or something, right? Then we can just read stud IO read from joystick into these guys, right? So stud mem as bytes event buff. While true, probably we'll do this for a bit. And I guess this is going to tell us how many bytes were read. And so here we want like n events is n bytes over size of event buff. Nope. Linux input event. Okay. And then for event buff, 0 to n events, we can like log the event, right? All right. How's that looking? Array is active. Oh, I need to put ampersand on this. And if I start wiggling the joystick around, we do see what looks like, so I'm gonna like go full to the left and then to the center, full to the right, then to the center, full down, and then up, up, down. Yeah, okay, I think that makes sense. Press A few times. A, B, X, Y, start, select, right? So there's some proof that we're getting something. Cool. How do we map these things, right? That's the next question. So we have, what is in this thing? The time, don't care. Type, code, value, right? So let's look at this again. So if I press A is each button press is 3 things, by the way, right? One of these seems to be some sort of like synchronizer, maybe? I don't know like what this would be. This looks like a button press, and then this is a release maybe. So hold, release, hold, release. Okay, no. Hold, release. So maybe this is interesting. So this is the button press, this one, because the value is changing. I don't know what either of these are. So that's kind of interesting. Let's look at maybe like type and code. So code is the event code. Value is the value the event carries. Right? What is type? Usually I find it easier to just look at the fucking kernel, to be honest. That's usually what I find easier. So we can like look at maybe like X input, or was it what do they call it? XPad. This is the Xbox driver. Like when a key goes down, what do they like send something? Input report here. Right, so input report key. Do we have like a index set up in this thing? Not here, but I think that we have another kernel checked out somewhere that does have like indexing set up, which just makes our lives like way fucking easier. No, not here. I could have sworn we did. That's annoying. Oh, maybe it was this one? Ah, this one. Here we go. Here we go. XPad. Input. What was it? It was input something. Report abs. Input report key, right? So when this thing goes down, they are throwing some shit. Okay, here we go. So here we have types that might be EV abs. Aha, here we go. These are the mapping. So syn sounds like if that's anything like TCP, you have like syn and synac, right? So like this is like some sort of like synchronization thing, right? Then what was the other types that we had? We had type 0 and type 4. So what was type 4? Miscellaneous. So they have some miscellaneous event, which does the value change depending on what button was pressed? Yes. So the miscellaneous event might be something like some sort of like raw identifier. Then you have the like this thing, which is like the interpreted event, and then this is the synchronization, right? I was disappointed when he got a new controller and it wasn't like some amorphous blob of 3D print. Yeah. True. One day. Okay. So can we see like where like in XPad do they do miscellaneous? Like no, right? So it goes farther down from there. So maybe in here, maybe we look for EV miscellaneous. Like who puts that thing in there? You know what I mean? Looking. Input here. It doesn't look to me like anybody's like hard coding, like writing one of those things. Maybe it's possible that like the controller writes the value twice. It's possible. There's an event callback here. Sorry, in the XPad thing. Yeah, I don't know. Well, I guess maybe we can look at EVMSC. So EVMSC isn't like even one of the types of keys that you can report, which is interesting, right? Which like really makes me think that there's some sort of mapping like in the input layer that's going to do that. But not sure. Not sure. EV MSC. Oh, here we go. Input event codes. Use describe miscellaneous input data. Perfect. Perfect. Maybe a physical ID sent. Yeah, it does kind of. That's kind of my gut feel as well, right? The fact that they are like unique per button makes me feel like they're some sort of like hardware specific thing. I just don't know why they're getting sent. Uh, it would be interesting to know if my other controllers do the same thing, but I don't. Maybe that's not what we do. I think maybe we just ignore it. But like, if we're trying to like propagate events, it might be good to like send everything the controller sends. But it's okay. Let's start by trying to interpret event codes. So if I guess we switch on event type. And if we see like Linux EV music, not music, sorry, key, we are trying to interpret the code. So switch event code, and then these probably map to like Linux. What do we see? Like 304, I think. Uh, so wait, was it hex 304? What was it? What was it? It was 304, yeah. So what's 304 in hex? Because that's probably how these are defined in here. Oh, no, okay. 304 not found? Hello? Oh, because they start being in hex. Python 3? Uh, how do you do this? Hex 304? 130. 130. Yeah, I see. So, button south, button east, button north, button west. I see, okay. So we can do something like this, where we kind of pull these over here. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. So any of these that don't have a number defined, we delete, and then we go, let's see. QQ to record, QQ to record a macro, delete word, delete and back, paste, arrow, comma, go again. And then I guess we probably want these in quotes. I guess. Macro, word, quote, and quote. Boom. There we go. And then we can say const name is this. And then can we fucking find space? Nope. Find tab? Delete a comma? There we go. Much better. I guess it's like, oh fuck, this is supposed to go in here. Are you trying to reprogram the firmware? We looked at that option before on the last controller that we had these problems with, and that looked like way too freaking hard. Way too freaking hard. Else we say unknown. Maybe we log unknown code D. There we go. What is this? Event code, maybe like this. And then he needs to return a string still, so log, block, break, block, unknown. We could, like, allocate a string or whatever, but this is just easier. Fuck it, I don't care. I don't care. Okay, why is this comma bad? Because it should be a semicolon. There we go. Name is this, and then we should be able to, like, name. Just to make sure we understand, you know? Oops. This is in the wrong spot. What's he mad about? This is like, yo, you else. I don't care. And then maybe we just log the event always. Yeah, maybe we do that. And then this just can be unknown here. And we'll catch what we need later or somewhere else. Okay, cool. South, east, north, west. So that's kind of funny. South is A, B is east, as makes sense. It has X as north and Y as west. So the buttons coming in on the controller just are the wrong fucking mappings, by the way. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. But whatever. I think that we found this last time. I think that the mappings are corrected in software lower down usually. But as long as these match the like actual Xbox controller, then it's probably fine. Okay, cool. So like we understand this a little bit. I guess the next thing to do is to like try to export a controller that matches these things, right? So we read events from this controller. We need to like export something. We need to like export those events back. How do we do that, right? So we can reference that project from a year ago, which was Gamepad API test, and we'll just copy paste whatever the fuck we did there. So this can be, previous work. And in here, we had a virtual input that had buttons and button names, and he opened dev view input, said, I want to output some events, probably is what he's doing here. And I would like to output some. Yeah, here he's saying, I want to output key events. And then here he's saying, here are the events I want to export. Each of these buttons. Okay, that makes sense. Then he says, I also want to export the absolute joystick positions, I guess, like absolute axes. And here are the axes that I support. So this is probably like left joystick XY, right joystick XY, and then each trigger would be my guess. And so it sounds like, by looking at this, like there are capabilities that are inspectable by this thing, right? So can we like maybe query what those are? And then we should be able to, from our application, get those events, and probably like when we create the virtual ones, we just do like a one-to-one mapping. Probably is like the easiest thing to start with. Dev input by ID. So it was this one, right? EV test. Right, okay, perfect. Yes, so this guy tells us all of the things that he can do, and so we just have to like copy paste that, I think. So what is the like API that we need to use to get that info? So it's probably in that input.h header. Where was he defining these ioctals? Get device properties would be my guess. So he's going to like export these properties. Is there some sort of property structure? Like, where are the types that go with these things? You know what I mean? Property. Event interface. I guess we could look at the EV test thing as well, but maybe somebody will tell us what to do with these things. Or we can just look in the fucking kernel. That's honestly easier most of the time. Bits to user. Oh, interesting. So he's just putting, this is like a bit mask of things that we support? Is that what this is? Like, this looks like a bit mask where when we like set capabilities. So maybe? Okay. What is our other options in here? It says, oh, yeah, that makes sense. So here, this is usually a type that goes into this thing that says what you can read. I think. Unclear. These are, yeah, so here you might be able to read, IO read, input ID, but here it's literally just like size. That makes sense. This makes sense. Okay. Okay. So what if I want to know... Oh, there's more things down here. Get event bits, grab release device. Like, how are they getting the like device attributes? You know what I mean? Like, this thing is definitely listing like what it supports. Maybe we can look for in that example, previous work, we were saying like UI set EV bit, right? So maybe we can look for that, UI set EV bit. Like, what does that do? You know what I mean? He says set bit on EV. I see. These, so there are bit masks for EV bit, key bit, rel bit, abs bit, right? So prop bit is going to be, we were saying like, hey, prop bit may be unused so far from what we've seen. But here we're saying like, in terms of like what events we support key, we support abs, right? So we're expecting to pull from the EV bit somehow and get those two things back, right? That makes sense. Then we are looking to pull from the abs bit to get these axes. And then we just need to like put those things back into our virtual device, I think. So EV bit, when somebody like gets the EV bit, like someone must return this thing as part of some ioctl, right? Other input.h. There's two. There's the user input one here. Okay. So let's look at this again. Get physical location, get unique, get device properties. Key, LEDs, event bits. Here we get the event bits. Get abs value and limits. Oh, beautiful. Okay. And what about like, so is event bits feels like it is the EV bits thing, but we can maybe look for this somewhere else and see if there's like adjacent things. EV IOC, was it IOC GBID? So when they see this, what are they returning? Ah, I see. So we get to choose which type of bit that we're trying to get, and it will give us those things back. Okay, beautiful. So we should be able to call, I think we need to wrap the ioctl command. We haven't done that yet. Pub function, octl. I don't remember what this thing takes or anything, but what it returns even. Probably a usize, but I don't even really know. So we have system ioctl, which is like the C version of this thing. And presumably he's taking a file descriptor. Great. What else is he taking? He's taken a request, which is a U32, and then arg, which is a usize. Okay. And And really, like, this thing's gonna end up being like a pointer a lot of the time and stuff. But I guess we'll have users cast that. I think that makes sense. And then usually this thing is like, you have to do this like in a loop because this thing might return with interrupted. So we have like res on this thing. We switch on erno res. And if we have enter, we just run it again usually. If it's success, we return res. And then otherwise, unexpected, like ioctal. I think we'll just say the ioctal failed. We'll deal with it later. Okay, so how do we get these like request numbers? Usually they come from these like Linux macros, but I think they're the Zig like C preprocessor is not good enough to get them. Like, but we can try it, right? So, it should be like Linux EV. What was it? IOC Gabit, right? And this guy is taking in the event code and the length of the output. I think. Event len. Yeah, it's gotta be, right? So here we're doing like Linux EV. I forgot already. What's like the default one? EV IOCG bit. 0. It's 0. 0 gives us like the total list. So we're like, hit me with 0. And then what is len? What is len for? Bits to user. Max len. I see. So we just have to specify what it is, but presumably there's like some expected max size, right? Oh, len is an output parameter? Okay, user P. Well, no, because the len field is part of this, right? So, like, what does this mean? What is the len parameter here? It's usually just size. So when you do, like, this thing with a structure, I assume that he just uses like, the size of the thing. Type, and then type check. Interesting. IR arg type. Interesting. But it does seem like it is just the size of the thing, right? So here we are telling it the size of the output. But, like, I don't understand. Like, shouldn't the size of the output be known by them? They know how many bits are in the EV bit mask. So maybe they check in here that it's the right size. Here, because here, oh, they have size and len. I see. So one of those is the thing we provided. We provided size. They're providing len, which is max bit and max len. The fuck? Okay, so they're like bits to long compat, bits to longs. If compat, what is compat mode? That's not something we're setting, I don't think. Compat mode comes from where? Compat mode. Sure. That's like based off which API you're calling, maybe, so not something that we need to really think about. If len is greater than max len, they set it. Otherwise, they try to copy this thing in, and they fault if it doesn't fit. Okay. Sure. So we just have to pick a size that's big enough, I guess. This is so confusing. Bits to longs EV count. Alright. I guess we just use EV count. I guess. How confusing. And then we need to give them an argument, which is where this thing is going. EV bits, I guess, right? And then here we're expecting the thing to come back with EV count bits, I guess. Right, so we have EV bits is Linux EV count long, I guess. I guess the idea is that maybe we are not supposed to care. I guess I kind of see it. We're like packing the size of our buffer into this thing, and then they'll return the length out. Yeah, can we just do this? Like, can we just like oversize it? You know what I mean? Just oversize it. I don't give a fuck, right? Like, just go crazy. You know what I mean? I don't care. That seems kind of reasonable. Unused local, yeah, okay, so then we go like, for 0 to res, or I guess like, retrieved is EV bits from 0 to res. Like, and then we print this, I guess? Expected 3 arguments, because we need to do this on the joystick. And then he's like, expected use size pointer, so we need to do, int from pointer like this. Oh, that works. Okay. 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 Interesting. Interesting. So then we have to like look at the bit mask, right? So how does that work? Right? So we were calling like there's like EV key, right? Like what is that? Sorry, I'm thinking. Linux EV key, right? So we're expecting this to be set, right? So we're kind of hoping to go like, I almost want like some sort of like, I guess is set bit array. And it's like, I guess it's like index is bit over 8, assuming that it starts at the lowest bit. And then, you know, shift is going to be bit percent 8, right? So if then we do like array index shifted right by shift. Truncate? Does that work? Maybe. So we can do like a if is set this in retrieved. Retrieved can be const in that function, by the way. EV key set. maybe something like this, you know, just to make sure we understand. Okay, he doesn't, oh, U3, my bad, not U7, and then this should be cons, by the way. Okay, I guess you need to do like a, you know, in from, or I guess you could do like, you could do, instead of truncating here, you can go like this, and 1 is not equal to 0. That's like the easiest conversion, I think, to bool. EV key set. Okay, perfect. So we should now be able to look at all the things that EV test said was supported, which is EV key, EV sin, EV abs, and all 3 of those should be set, and EV misc. So it was, I guess like we can just do like log if set bit name. Does this work? You can do like field Linux name. Does this work? That would be kind of sick. Wow, like that actually might work. So we can do like log if set EV key like this. Wow, that does work. That's crazy. So EV abs. I guess let's just say log. We'll do this. Okay. So EV abs, EV rel, EV misc. And then what was the other one? Sin. Nice. Nice. Okay, so it looks like we're doing this kind of right? We've kind of like looked at the bit set of this thing. We understand the format of that. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. So now, like we then know that we can look into like, well, if EV abs is set, right? Like this, we should be able to then like query which axes are set on this thing, right? So we call like the same thing here. Maybe we put this in like this. Boom, boom. So here we go. We're just gonna assume that that thing is set, and we're looking for like Linux EV abs here, right? And then we can do the same thing where we're looking for, you know, EV abs. No, abs break, for example, right? We are expecting abs break to exist. Boom. Boom. Which I guess means that we need this as well. Boom. Yep. Okay. Cool. Cool. This makes sense. So when we want to push the U input events, we're gonna like make a mock device. What do you mean doing something so simple is so hard? I'm just trying to fucking use my controller, man. And we have to like write virtual fake controllers and re-implement Steam input like just to use it, I think. I'm not going to explain it again. I promise that this is like the most reasonable way to do what I want to do. Which is insane. Okay. So I think we can go back to trying to create a virtual device now. Dude, I have not done anything, by the way, re this table of contents. We've probably kind of read inputs. We did some point did like query capabilities. And now I guess now we're like make virtual input device. Make virtual input. Which again, we have from previous work. Virtual input. This guy is okay. This is going to be what was his vert file there in the previous work? He was just opening dev input. I see. U input. So there's gonna be a C int for us. Did I? Oh, oops. Did I copy paste this to the wrong spot? I did, huh? I did. Okay. So, what are we going to do? We're definitely going to open dev view input. Maybe we take that here. I feel like kind of makes more sense for us. And we want to, like, set EV bit is, like, not ideal here. Like, I would rather set the entire mask at once, right? Because, like, we know exactly the set of capabilities that we're already being reported by the joystick. So I would like to just propagate those if we can, right? So can we look at, like, UI set EV bit? Is there, like, a batch version of this thing? You know what I mean? UI dev setup. What is, like, name, FFFX. My gut looking at this feels like the answer is no, right? It looks like we probably have to set these things bit by bit, which is very funny. So we have to like walk over all of the like different types of bits that we set and then set them in the fake device bit by bit. How do you understand what you do? The trick is I don't. I have no idea what the fuck is going on. Yeah, it looks like that. Okay, I'm gonna ask the idiot to double check, but I don't think there is. I don't think there is. Fake it till you make it, baby. Yeah. Using dev u input to make a virtual controller. Is there a way to set the entire like EV bit set at once? I know I have a source that I got from the kernel, or do I have to set bit by bit? Let's just see what he says. You don't set, yeah, he's basically saying fuck you, right? If you already have a capability bitmap, yeah. He is basically just saying what I said. He's saying what I said. Yep, okay, that's what I thought. Okay. So, we have here, let me think for a second. I think it makes sense to basically give this guy the U input handle. And, oh, actually, every time we open new input, it makes a new input, it looks like. So I think it's actually that we give this guy the source joystick handle, and then he will handle, like, getting the bits and walking them and stuff. I think that makes sense. So wherever the fuck we were doing this, he is going to, like, get the EV bits, right? And then we're going to say, this is source joystick. And then we're gonna do, like, some function that's like set all active bits into our file, which is, this should be stud.io open it now instead. So he's gonna say from EV bits 0 to res. And he wants to say what type of thing he's setting here, which is gonna be like Linux UI set EV bit, right? He's gonna be like, call some function for every single fucking bit in this thing. I think that makes sense. And so we just need to make that function. Set all active bits. And And I already forgot what the things were that I passed in, so let's just copy paste the call of that thing. Boom. So this is going to be the fcint. This is going to be the command. And this is going to be bits. Okay. So we're going like for 0 to some max, which I think was in Linux EV max already. So we're kind of chilling there, right? We go if is set. Oh, nice. We already made this function. Beautiful. Look at us go. Look at us go. I in bits. We're calling the ioctal with the command and the bit. Yeah. Yeah, right? That seems right. So we can call set all active bits on this thing. And then we want to go over, I guess, for EV, like 0 to see EV max. It might not be 0, right? This might be EV, or it's not C either, it's Linux here. Like EV max, we want to start at EV sin, which is 0, right? So I think we just go like for 0 to EV max. It's an important question. In your mind, how do you say octal? I say ioctal, but it's IO control, right? Is like the real thing, but there's no R. So I say ioctal, but other people say iocatal. Nobody says that. I say octal, but I think that nobody else says that. I think that that's like, I made that up. You know, like when you read books and you're like, this is how the word is said, and you find out later that you're like a fucking idiot? I believe that's the same thing. I think we're missing a header here. I think U input is its own thing, right? So the question is, do these match? Yes. Okay. So the 0 hold. I believe that this should be I now. And then set EV bit should be offset 0, and then the keys should all match. I think this is all fine. I think this is fine. Maybe it makes more sense to do like Linux EV sin plus I again. Like maybe that makes more sense. But I believe this will do something sane. And then all of this stuff just kind of dies, I think. Then we like make the thing. Say it's a fake USB device. Give it some name, my controller. And then we issue our ioctal. Something like that. And then if we did all of this, if we copy pasted this right, and we make the virtual device, I think what should happen is we should see it show up in dev event, and we should be able to run EV tests on it and see the same attributes set. That's kind of the dream here. So can we, I think we should just be able to go like virtual input init joystick. All of these guys have to, oh, I think this is dead code. Yeah, this is dead. This is dead because we don't actually care about like specific buttons anymore. We're not trying to mock a specific thing. We're just kind of trying to propagate the one that already exists. Okay, he's mad because this needs to be int cast here. Sure. As U32, I guess. Okay. Expected result. Oh. Okay, well, fuck me, I guess. Okay, expected CUint, found CInt. Am I fucking high? Does it need to be a comp time int for this to work? That's pretty funny. And yeah, that's hilarious. That's so funny. Can I do this? I can. That's so funny. As an Australian, see you just one letter away from being a great type. Yeah, hell yeah. I think I don't care about the result here. I guess technically I do. No, because if it's positive, it's positive. If it's positive, it's positive. That's what I've always said. All right. We are erroring on trying to query the source. So I think that it could be maybe that it errors if the thing doesn't exist, right? Like here we're going to EV max, but there's a bunch of like, there's a hole here. You know what I mean? So I wonder, can we look at like the, what is this octo called? EV IOC gibit. EV IOC gibit. Like, does he error out? Yeah, he does. He errors out if this thing isn't valid. So I guess we still rip the whole list, but then we are allowed to see, you know, invalid. And if we see invalid, if E is equal to error invalid, that's fine. Otherwise, we can return the error. Think that makes sense? You can't control flow inside a fucking... Oh my god. Oh my god, dude, you can't fucking control flow in here? So you have to do it this way? You have to just do it like this? That's funny. You have to do it like this. Because there's no continue allowed in inline block, which we need to do because it's a comp time in. Okay, so we should see a new uint, a new u input available. Right, like we should have created like some my device or something, which I'm not seeing in here, by the way. But maybe it's because it doesn't have like an ID. That's possible. Can we do ls-l dev input and count how many entries there are? 41. We close this thing. 39. So we are doing something, right? Count. Oh, sorry. Right, so there is new ones. So the question is which ones are new? Well, we know that it's the 31st right now at 154. So JS1 is one of them. Event 31. This is the guy. This is the guy. So can we do EV test dev input event 31? Ah, fuck. I only had that in the other terminal. Beautiful. Okay, so we see all of the same things, right? We see miscellaneous, abs hat. Yeah, this all looks the same. And then the input device name is my controller with 1234 Beautiful. That's great. That's great. So now all we have to do is when we read events, propagate them, right? We should just be able to like copy paste them almost, right? So I actually think that you don't even have, you can literally just take the event and spit it in directly. So how were we doing that before? We had input event, and you just do F right. Yeah. So for each, I think it's literally write all event buff from 0 to n events. Like in reality, we don't even have to interpret this thing. we could just write it back as bytes. There's no reason that we actually have to look at this thing, which is kind of fun. Close. What doesn't he like here? Pointless discard. Let's get rid of that one. And then, what's the new error? As bytes. Oh, slices bytes maybe? I think it's supposed to be slice as bytes. There we go. Read bytes in, push them down another byte pipeline. Sounds like my day job. So true. Okay. Let's open the Steam controller config and just see if it like sees my controller and if pressing the buttons on it like does what I expect. Controller, my controller. Look at this shit. Look at this shit. Press A button. What more could I have asked for? What more could I have asked for? IO failed bad file descriptor. Interesting. Did I forget to set this thing? U input is F. Do I close this thing by mistake? No. Am I maybe not allowed to write to this thing without some permissions? Yeah, because I'm not rude. But there's a plus on there. How do I see what this means again? There's like fackle? Get fackle? Yeah, there we go. So I am allowed to read and write this thing. Right? That should be allowed. So why is that failing? I guess we could maybe... It's saying bad file descriptor, which is like really surprising. Unless it's not a write to that thing, but that's what we were doing before. Yeah, that's a little odd. Yeah, so pressing anything is IO failing. IO failure bad F. Can we look at when bad F would be returned? Like in U input.c, there's probably some sort of like write handler, right? And he is going to be inputting events invalid, fault, and then otherwise it's bytes. Yeah, I mean, in here, there's like nothing that could return other than those two, so it's not there. Really, bad F is surprising. Very surprising. Man to write. Like, that only happens with an invalid file descriptor, right? Bad F. FD is not a valid file descriptor. Oh, not open for writing. Of course. Of course. I'm a dumb fucking idiot. Dumb fucking idiot loser asshole. That's what I always say. There we go. Perfect. Perfect. Okay. Back to Steam. Back to hiding my screen because I'm worried about leaking shit. I'm sure there's a faster way. Maybe I should have just left Steam open, but you know, I'm an idiot. Settings, controllers, begin setup. And then I think somewhere I can I like turn off all notifications? No notifications, please. Hey, stop talking about like my streamer like that. Okay. A B B B A. Nothing is fucking happening. So clearly, this thing is like showing up in the like controller listing, right? but he seems to not be seeing any information. So, have we done something wrong with how we are propagating this? Maybe. Okay, let's look at the previous work. And when we sent this stuff, what we were doing, we were calling write key followed by write report, right? So that should be, as long as they are doing evsyn report, which I believe is 0, 0. I believe 0, 0, 0, right? So we do see that 0, 0 event come in, right? We see this. So as far as I understand, we should be repeating it. So why are we not getting it? Okay, the next thing to do to like reduce is we can do EV test on this thing. Oh, that's interesting. So when I press buttons on here, I am only getting the miscellaneous ones, and they're wrong. I am getting the axes ones. So it could be that I forgot to set up button capabilities in some way. Yeah, what did we do in previous work regarding buttons? Regarding buttons, we said I mean, it should just be that we set the key bit for each button that's supported, right? So did we just somehow fuck up the propagation of that? It's like possible. It's possible. Can we run EV test on the source controller? So this is event 10. Okay, so this guy, yeah, here he does have EV key in here. Does ours have that? We do have EV key, but we've managed to miss writing down which keys we support. Right? We have managed to fuck that up. So I thought, like, EV key bit should show up in here, right? So we see EV syn +1 should be EV key. So I guess we should write down here, like, what we're skipping. Skipping this number. Oops. Oh no. Yeah, okay. Otherwise, skipping number. Here we go. There we go. Yeah, so EV key did get set. And then we had called set EV bit +1 should go to key bit. And then we set all active bits on EV bits from 0 to res. So what's the problem? If command is equal to Linux UI EV, what is it, key, set key bit, print the bits. Right, let's start here. Oh, this is the wrong loop condition. That's why. This is the wrong, I can already tell. This is the wrong loop condition. So this should just be for this should just be this. So 40 to bits len times 8. That's what this should be. Much better. Let's fucking go, baby. Let's fucking go. So now if I Steam settings, oh, I guess we EV test first. Let's fucking go. I'm a little concerned about the miscellaneous scan code being wrong. But maybe actually, we should actually check on event 10. Is it some sort of like, oh, it is the same. It's just like the miscellaneous value is like interpreted in some way. So that makes sense. Okay. Controller. Sumdev. Begin test. Oh, now we don't have to configure it. Why'd it crash? Oh, because I pressed B. Because I pressed B. Y, X, click, click, left, down, right, up, back, start, screenshot button. Screenshot button is not passed to Steam. Okay, triggers. I'm not sure if the trigger axes look right here, right? Because when I put it all the way down, it's going like, it's staying so close. So I feel like I have to set some like joystick limits that I'm not setting. That would be my guess, right? I think that there's probably some sort of like abs info thing to set. Abs info. Yeah, here we go, right? So there's an abs info here that we need to like get from one guy and then propagate to the other, right? So how does this work? So there's gonna be like u input dot h, and he's gonna have like abs setup. Nice. Right, so we're gonna call abs setup with this structure, who's gonna have the access code and the abs info, right? So I guess we're gonna say in our setup, we're gonna say like if, I guess we just do it separately, right? So well, we want the bits for this guy. So we're gonna say here, I guess, like if I is equal to Linux EV abs, we are going to then loop over all these things for 0 to abs max, maybe. Nice. We're gonna call like an ioctl on the joystick to like Gabs, right? Surely it's Gabs, right? Surely it's Gabs. Oh my god. Input.h. Which of these this one? No, it's input. God damn it. API input.h. This one. Gabs, get abs value limits, which is input abs info. Is that the same thing that goes into the set in uinput.h? Yes, it is. Cool. Cool. So we gabs that shit up. And this thing, he is looking for which index this thing is, I think. That makes sense. And this is going to be another one of those things where it needs to be a comp time int, I think, for this to work correctly, which is funny. I think. And then we are putting this into the abs info. I guess this is J. Abs info is a Linux abs info. What was this called? input abs info. And then we're immediately just ripping that shit back? What's he not like here? Expected U32? Hello? I said as comp time int, bitch. Come on. Come on. What am I doing wrong? Expected U32 found use size. Like, this must be something in here is doing something wrong, right? It must be. Can I see, like, where? Oh. Wait, it's just an incast on the end. Wait, we're chilling. We're chilling. It's an incast here. Wait, we're so fucking chill. Input abs info like this. Boom, boom, boom. Expected use size found pointer. Right, so we need to do int from pointer. And then we can just rip this shit back, right? So here we're like on virtual, or like, what do we call this other thing? F. We're calling Linux UI set UI abs setup. Beautiful. And I think that it was just the same thing back, right? He doesn't like that. What did I do wrong? Oh, this is different. Okay. We need U input abs setup. Setup is Linux U input abs setup. Code is I abs info setup. Oh, he likes that. He likes that. Can I open my controller config again? Still not looking good. In fact, looking worse. Only one trigger is doing anything now, and it's the wrong trigger. A, B, X, Y. Oh, well, fuck me, I guess. Oh, because it's because I think the controller, the original controller, is probably still also outputting. So it's probably getting like the back button from the original controller, and then yeah. I think that there's like a grab command that you can run that says like nobody else gets to look at this. I think you want to do like stud io ioctl on the joystick with like Linux EVIOC grab? Yeah. Which wants a C int as an argument. So what is that for? EVIOC grab. What does the argument to this thing do? He is trying to... Oh, it's just if 1 or 0. It's just 1 or 0. It's just like grab or ungrab. So anything that's not 0 grabs it. Grab the joystick. Thank you. Okay, so now if I go back into my controller config, hopefully it won't like fucking exit out when I press B. Okay, set up device inputs. A, B, X, Y, left, right, up, down, left. Move the joystick. Yeah, so doing this is doing like jack shit. So can we go calibration? Joystick? There's usually like a way to test this shit, no? Is there no like test my fucking joysticks? No, okay. I mean, okay, so if we look at was it 31? Ah, okay, so it looks like we are going from 0 to 255. Which is matching what we see on the input side, right? So it just must be that our absolute info has not been set up correctly, right? It must be. It has to be. So maybe code here is wrong? Could be. Could be that we just kind of guessed that wrong. So what is the octal we're calling here? I already forgot. It's abs setup. Okay. So we have the U input setup pointer. That's not what we passed. Right? That's not what we passed. This thing is supposed to be a U input setup. What? But then wait, am I high? No, this guy does take a U input ab setup. But here, he is using the user pointer as a raw setup. Right? Am I high? Set absolute access information. It supersedes the old thing. The octal takes a struct input ab setup. The fields of this object are code, corresponding code with the access. Abs info. See input abs info for the description of this field. This field is copied unchanged from the kernel for the specified access into the kernel. Okay, so like, hello? I feel like I'm mental. Unless I'm like mixing different kernel versions. But like, oh wait, setup.absinfo. Hello? Oh, setup here. Copy from user. Oh, oh, how confusing. They're like just fucking it up. They're just copying the bytes from this thing, and so like this argument is just like a lie. That's very funny. That's very funny. Okay, so they're copying it into the kernel, then they're looking at this thing and it's like as you would expect. Right? So as far as I'm concerned, we passed the things that I wanted to pass in. Can I like inspect this thing when I run EV test on this guy? Like, does it tell me what the ranges of these things are? I mean, the min-max on everything being 0, 0 is pretty damning, no? Yeah, I mean, that seems pretty bad. So it's like, we're clearly not doing it, but like, why not? You know what I mean? So if Linux EV abs, if we are looking at okay. Hi. It's me, abs. Hi, it's me, abs. Okay, that's there. And then, like, hello? Why is this not doing anything then? Stood debug print, setting this to this. I abs info, right? Like, what the fuck is going on? Wrong fucking index. I fucking hate my life. J. It should be J. This is what I get for using nested loops. I, like, never do this, so it's like... Fuck. Oh, fuck. And then we should only do this if it's set. We should only do that if it's set, because it's implicitly setting it, which is bad. We have way too many axes now. So if is set EV bits 0 to res J or something. Holy nesting, yeah. I know. Fuck me. This is bad. I agree. I agree. I'll say it. I'll say it. We're basically a bird at this point. What does that even mean? That looks a little more reasonable. Does that match what we see on event 10? Yeah, it does. Okay, so now if I go into the controller config for this guy, does it look a little bit more reasonable? If I go into controller, some dev, begin test. Oh, beautiful, right? Like the right trigger, left trigger are now behaving as I would expect, right? We're seeing 0 to int, or like, what is that? I32 max? Is that what that is? Oh, okay, and then the joysticks are looking to be a little bit more reasonable too. Look at that. Cool! An hour, 40 minutes, and we have basically done nothing but copy-pasted the existing controller. The question is do I want to go further today? Or is this kind of, like, where I want to call it? Because I think, what are the next steps? The next steps are, we want to support, like, arbitrary button remapping, right? And those arbitrary buttons to be able to be remapped to any device. We want to simulate a mouse and a keyboard, potentially. So maybe that's what we do now. Maybe that's what we do now, is we try to make a virtual mouse. And we try to map the left stick to movements on the mouse. I think that makes sense. Because that's going to be how we represent the gyro. That's how we're going to represent the gyro, is virtual mouse. Don't get banned. Yeah, it would be funny if we did all this and then I got vac banned on something. That would be funny. I don't think that's going to happen, but it would be funny. Okay. So we have our, like, virtual joystick. Let's call this virtual joystick, by the way. Or virtual gamepad, maybe, is I think a more accurate name for how we are using this thing. And this is, we'll call this VGPA for virtual gamepad. And then let's do vmouse. And I believe we should just be able to go, like, I don't know, virtual mouse. So this is also going to open U input, right, in the same way. But we are not going to be setting all the things we set. We should just look for, like, an existing mouse, right? Dev input by ID. Let's look for our, like, not that mouse. Fuck that mouse. What's my mouse? My mouse is this one. No, that's mouse 0. Does my mouse only show up as raw? Or as, like, maybe event mice are not events. There's event mouse here, event mouse here. This is the one I want. Dev, event 2. EV test dev input event 2. Which it will not let me do because I'm not allowed to. That's a good point. That's a good point. Let's go to my other account. And maybe just mod that thing to be world readable. Maybe. Dev input event 2. So can we just go like plus R, A plus R. So that thing is readable by me now. Beautiful. So moving it does some stuff. And what do we claim to support on this thing? This is funny. This is an insane thing for my mouse to do, by the way. To be like, yeah, no big deal. My mouse can spit out key tab, no biggie. Is it? It's odd that Steam can't work with Java, but the controller has it. Yes, I agree. What system doesn't support Java for? Only DualShock and Switch Pro, I think. Oh, and Steam controller. Okay, so we don't really have to say all of these things, right? It seems like probably EV-rel is probably the thing that's actually relevant here, right? So when I do this, we're seeing rel X, rel Y. The values are, I can make it higher if I like push really hard, but generally they're in the range 1 to 1, which is interesting. Okay, so we should be able to open new input, get a new fucking file descriptor. We basically just only want to set up the relative bit, I think, and do rel X and rel Y, right? How else does it know that it's a mouse, though? That's like not really clear to me. Is like somewhere in here, like someone knows this is a mouse. And that does not seem clear to me from these properties. You know what I mean? That's like unclear. So how does it know? Someone's creating the mouse handle. We can look up like a U input mouse, maybe. U input mouse. Is this a thing that like is a thing? Can we do this? Surely we can. Mouse. So they are opening dev view input. They're they are kind of just saying that I am relbit. Maybe that's enough. That seems surprising to me. I don't think that should work. But like, fuck it, I guess. Let's try it. Let's try it. All right. Stud IO octal everywhere. I guess it's always like try stud IO dot boom boom boom. Okay. We are setting Linux here. Linux here. Oh, interesting. Maybe it's determined as a mouse just by the fact that it has a button left. That would be kind of funny. That would be kind of funny. We'll see. We'll try commenting that out later. We did somewhere else this like this setup. So we'll do this. Boom. Our name is no longer my controller, but it is my mouse. And let's use a different vendor string. Okay, cool. So he's kind of claiming that that's enough. He is claiming that. We'll call this FD so the copy paste worked a little better. And then this is all needs to be Linux prefixed. Okay. This is gonna be int from pointer, like this. Okay. And then we should just be able to be like, if we see like Linux EV abs and the like joystick is the left joystick. So left joystick is abs X and abs Y, right? So we just take abs X and abs Y and shove it into the virtual input. So we're doing like fake input is, or mouse input is going to be like a Linux input event. This is going to be code is going to be the axis. So this is going to be the same as the input event, I guess. Right? We're just matching X and Y. I guess like if event code is not equal to Linux abs X and event code is not equal to Linux abs Y, we don't want to map that thing, right? So we continue. Are we in a loop? I assume we're in a loop. So the code is matched. Value is going to be, I think, I'm going to go with value over a lot, right? We're going to go like event value, maybe like shifted right by 2 to the 8 is 256, so 7 is 128, so 2 to the 6. Maybe 5. Time is going to be event time. We're just going to copy paste that shit. Type. The fuck is type? The fuck is type? I've already forgotten. I've already forgotten what this is. Fuck. Does anybody remember? Oh, type 3. It says right there. We need to be EVREL. This isn't Pal World. Sorry, man. I've got work to do. I've got work to do. What can I say? Okay. So we should just be able to like slap this shit into the event queue. So it should be like the mouse, and we're doing like an ioctl on this thing. I think our the mouse input, like this should have an API in it that says like rel move, right? Surely. And there should be like X, I guess like rel X and rel Y will handle it independently. Hey Raider, don't shoot! Don't shoot! So this is gonna be, I guess, I don't know what unit this is. Probably it seems like what it is, but I don't know. Let's double check here. Value is signed 32. Yeah, so Cint is fine. And then this guy lives here now. This guy's like, yo, I'm gonna take one of these guys. So code here we are now manually writing, I guess. That makes sense. This is, I guess this is rel. Wait, why? Oh, I see. So we're saying, hey, type relative movement on x-axis, value x, time, we'll just take time, I think. We'll just copy paste it, I think. Which is struct time val. Please let me out. Thank you. Linux struct time spec, I think is what we're looking for. And then we say, write that shit, I guess. Right. To write all. So like as bytes, Linux input event to U input. Okay, and then we need the synchronize. So this is just like 0, 0, 0 time, I think. This is Linux evsyn 0, 0 time. Something like this. Yeah, I think you need to put more other windows on the screen so you can see the editor a little bit. Yeah, perfect. And then we write this shit, I guess. Okay, so now this is getting a little bit more like v mouse. It's like switch on the event code if it's Linux abs X we do vmouse x with event value shift right by 6 and the time event time. And then we say, okay, synchronize that shit, please. I think that makes sense. So if we did everything right, then we should see the mouse moving when I shift the left joystick around. That's the dream. He doesn't like this. Why? Because this thing wants to be mutable. Sure. I don't give a fuck. Event time. He's like, I expected time spec found struct time val. I want time val, not time spec. If you say so. If you say so. All right. Try here. Try here. All right. Moving the joystick. It is moving. It only is moving to the right, but it is moving. Why is that? The fuck? Was it event 10? Okay, hold on. So I'm going left. Left. Oh, it's off. It's 128 centered. 128 is centered. So the value needs to be, okay, so we take, is this thing already SRG? Yeah, we can. So we can just use like 128 minus. Left, right, close. Value minus 128. Okay. Right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, right. A little jumpy. Oh, because we're only doing it on on movements. So here, this has to be like every frame, every time period, like repeat event, right? Because this is only coming in when the absolute value changes. But for the mouse to continue moving, we have to like on a timer keep pushing it to the side, which is interesting. Right? Okay. Cool, I think that makes sense. I wanted to see if we remove the button thing. Like, if we don't claim that we have a mouse button, like, does that get mad? Like, what the fuck happens? What was it? Left? Okay, here we go. Like, is that how it knows? That's so funny, it is. So, just by the chance that the left button exists on the event handle, the computer's like, yeah, that's a fucking mouse, bro. Yeah, that's a fucking mouse. What you gonna do? That's so funny. That's so funny. Okay. So I think that we have the beginnings of the right pieces in place, right? We now understand. Okay, we've like completely passed through the original controller, which is good. We are missing paddles still. So we need to do the part where we correlate the other two devices with this thing, right? We need to like find the keyboard and mouse that match our joystick. So that's part one. We need to then use the mouse inputs and like figure out what the fuck they mean and then re-export those as mouse events again, but only when we find a game that's open that we care about, right? So ideally we like say when I open Doom, then turn back on the mouse in my virtual output or something. We'll see where that goes. So yeah, I think we're close. Another day, maybe probably another 2 days, to be honest. Because I think that we're gonna want to do like more advanced configuration than either of those two things. But we've got the bones in place. The bones are in place. I think we call it there. thanks for watching, guys. If you like you saw, we stream most days. We aim for 12:30. We stream for Pacific time. We stream for like 2 or 3 hours. Right now we're working on this. Eventually, we'll go back to the SVG renderer, and after we go back to that, we'll go back to the Wayland compositor because we'll finally be able to render an icon in a window somewhere. But chances are we'll find something else to get distracted with before then. So there's a big backlog of stuff in the YouTube. Check it out. There's a Patreon if you want to see. Sometimes stuff doesn't fit into a nice title and thumbnail. That's where that shit goes. Patreon or YouTube members, or if you subscribe on Twitch, you get access to those VODs wherever it makes sense. I think that's all we got to plug. YouTube, peace. Twitch is fun, someone to raid.